Hello everybody, this is Jeffrey GT7 and welcome to the episode. Now in this episode we got ourselves yet another unique request, and this request is going to be using the classic 1971 Mercedes-Benz 300 SEL at Le Mans. So like I mentioned before, it is a very unusual, interesting request, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys my particular build with this car and track combination. Now one thing I would recommend is to go ahead and adjust the AI setting if you want to at Le Mans to like easy or normal, but if you want to keep challenging yourself to do hard mode, then it's totally up to you. But just to make matters short and sweet, I am going to keep the car's livery as is and just mainly focus on how to get the car and the build itself. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the episode. So like I mentioned before, if you are curious on how to obtain this car, right now it's at the used car dealership, and here it is. It's going to cost you about 700,000 credits, and I believe this car was a rally car, and that's kind of why you have the decals like they are, and that's probably why it's kind of expensive. But once you do earn enough credits for this car, then you'll be good to go. Now we are able to put a lot of upgrades into the car, even though we're kind of limited on what we can put on there because there's not really that whole lot to put in to begin with. But after you grab the car, let's go ahead and check our setup real quick. Now for my particular setup, you can see we're well below the 700 cut line, so even if you put racing soft tires on, you'd be good to go. But for me personally, I'm going to put mediums for my tire compound. If you want to go ahead and just copy the numbers for the suspension and the fully customized torque, you can. There's the fully ECU racing transmission at 290 kilometers, and you'll be good to go for the first part of the list. Now the next part of the list, you basically are going to get every part you possibly can get your hands on. Now for a side note, if you're a collector of 50, you can actually obtain the connecting rods and pistons if you're that level and if you want to give you that little extra horsepower. But if you guys go ahead and copy this list, you actually will be overall competitive compared to the AI if you're going against them on easy mode or on normal mode. But you know, every part is already put on the car, and like I mentioned before, there's not that much you can put on there to begin with. But after you get all the parts together, we can now get started with our race. So let's go ahead and jump into this race. Now the cool thing is, after I got started doing this race, I actually went ahead and did this race with my wheel. It's been quite a while since I did my G29 with this wheel in any kind of race in this game, and let me just say the car was very smooth with the wheel. So if you're a wheel user or if you're a controller user, the car itself is pretty smooth. You really don't have to worry about the car oversteering or going over the edge, like handling wise, unless you really do force the issue and really put the car in a very weird, awkward spot. Then maybe you occasionally get maybe a little bit of a drift slide. But other than that, the car was very planted, felt very smooth and grippy. We'll go ahead and grab a couple of spots here. We're going to avoid this accident with the BMW. We're just going to gift us a good bit of many places. So we have already got ourselves into the top 10 within less than a minute. So the car is the fastest car on the straight line speed, considering it does have a pretty moderate advantage over the rest of the class field in this race. Unfortunately for this car though, as you can see, our fuel map, not that many laps we could do around this track. Unfortunately, it's more of an average 2 laps ordeal with this engine package, which is quite unfortunate because the car is just really good, just handles very smoothly. I would say that fuel could be the weakness of this car, having to pit twice. Now I am going to go ahead and go full bore at map 1, but if you feel the need to stretch it out and do map 2, map 3, 4, whatever the case is given, then you could try that if you want to. But for me personally, I'm going to go all the way out and just do map 1. As you can see, it is going to take us a little bit while to catch up to the next group of cars, but we actually do manage to do that. Get ourselves aligned and ready for this corner. We're going to take a spot away from the Lexus, get back on the power very smoothly, get another spot from the Aston Martin. And then a few seconds later, after we get some slipstream and get back on the power, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves into the top 5 from the Genesis. So yeah, this car, very smooth, considering for it to be an old car from the 70s. Really shocked of how smooth the car felt in this race. And the top speed was impressive too, even though it wasn't anything from the 180s or 190s range. Just enough speed to give you an advantage over the rest of the field. That's basically what you need, and that's what it did. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves into 4th place as we're going to go ahead and pass the Group 4 Supra, and then we're going to go ahead and fast forward to later in the lap. As you can see, we've managed to catch up with both the Viper and the Corvettes. We're going to get ourselves a very smooth sector out of this mission corner. We're going to get right behind the Viper, and we're going to try to find a way around it. We're going to go for this hole right here, and it works smoothly for us. For our advantage, get ourselves P2. Also get a pretty good corner out this turn as well, and get a nice slipstream from the Corvette. As we approach close to the pit entry, we'll get a nice run on the Corvette, and we're going to go ahead and take the lead, go back on the racing line, and get ourselves ready for the last couple of chicanes. And you can see the car just really smooth as well in the chicane, just being able to plan it perfectly where it needed to be. And that's going to be it for our first lap. And from that point on, we didn't look back and just basically ran away from it. So lap 2 is going to be our first scheduled pit stop for the race, and this is actually pretty conflicting because you can see we got ourselves rain on our way. And usually when you see rain, you have to think ahead and take the bet to either think, is it going to become heavier? That way you need to switch to wets or inters, or is it going to be a small drizzle? So in this particular first pit stop, I took a bet and was hoping that the race itself was going to be dry. I'm thinking in my head it might be just a small, moderate drizzle type of rain. I don't really see any indication it's going to be any heavier. No sign of the dark blues or greens on the radar. So in this first pit stop, I was hoping that it was going to be like that. Now, we actually did have a couple other takers that come into pit road as well. So we're going to go ahead and surrender the lead to the Viper. But as soon as we get done with our pit stop and a couple turns later, once we got back to that main straightaway, we were able to take the lead away from the Viper from the race. And from that point on, we didn't even lose the lead. So that's it for our first pit stop. And thankfully, my hypothesis was right. The track actually was dry. You can see the sun shines back out. Got ourselves a pretty big lead over the guy in second place. We're going to go ahead and change tires into a new set of racing mediums. This should be the only time to pretty much worry about tires in the second pit stop, because the tires do last a pretty good bit considering it to be a medium compound. And just like we did on our first pit stop, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves a refill on the fuel. Just make sure it just hits 100%, and that's going to be it for our second pit stop for the race. And like I said before, the drawback of course is the pit stops averaging about 2 laps because of fuel. I kind of wish that the fuel was a bit better on the car, but considering the fuel situation, the car overall very smooth in this race. As we get down to our pit stop, we're going to go ahead and fast forward to our very last pit stop of the race, which is going to occur on our last lap as well. On lap number 6, we're going to dip in pit road for the last time in this race, and we're just going to go ahead and just add fuel to the car. We have actually hit the below 2 minutes mark, or below 3 minutes per se. So this is going to be officially our last pit stop for the race, and all I'll be doing here is just a simple refuel the car, just good enough to last us for at least over 1 lap, and that's going to be the end for our run at Le Mans. So very smooth car, pretty easy car to drive as well. If you're a wheel user or a controller user, it should be overall smooth and easy to drive. Handled great. Like I said, I didn't really had any issues with any oversteer or understeer whatsoever. The car was able to turn easily, the braking was good, and surprisingly a good car for it to be a 70s rally car. Finished the last lap on lap 7. As we cross the finish line, it's going to be over 32 minutes, so we actually do manage to kept on the lead, got ourselves a huge big margin. As you can see, we got a pretty big margin between ourselves and P2, about 1 minute 20 seconds. So even though we didn't post a hot lap, which was quite unfortunate, I would say our best lap would have been a 4:19 or 4:18ish. But despite that, we got ourselves that sweet clean race bonus, which we always try to aim for in these races. And that's going to be it for this episode. Now for the next episode, It's going to be the Muse S2000 GT1. I haven't used this car in a long while, so it's going to be quite a very interesting and good build in my opinion for this car. Now, but this particular swap is going to be the stock engine. If you're curious, it's not going to be swapped. It's going to be just the way the car is. So I'm looking forward for the next episode. Should be yet another great banger to use at Le Mans. So yeah, just can't wait for it. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, why don't go ahead and leave a like. If you also enjoyed today's episode, like to see some more content later down the road, why don't hit the subscribe button as well. If you have a particular car you'd like for me to do, why not go ahead and also add that to the comment section as well, and I'll try it. With that all being said, hopefully you guys have a great rest of the day or night, wherever it might be, and I'll see you guys later, and take care.